Welcome to my CBSE English teacher. Today let's learn the summary of the chapter Silk Road by Nick Middleton from class 11 English. If you're watching my video for the first time, consider subscribing and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a video. Let's move on to the video now. About the author, Nick Middleton is an award winning geographer, writer, TV presenter, environmental scientist, and university lecturer. Nick is the author of several travel books, including the bestseller Going to Extremes, which accompanied a television series he wrote and presented for Channel 4 and the National Geographic Channel on extreme environments and the people who live in them. Introduction. Silk Road is a detailed account of the author's visit to Mount Kailash. He visited the place to do the Korah with other pilgrims. The whole description is quite interesting as it reveals many unknown facts about a journey up the most difficult terrain in the world. Let's look at the summary. The story gives a record of an adventure from the tenderly rolling hills of Ravu to Mount Kailash. The motivation behind this journey was religious. The storyteller wanted to finish the Korah at Mount Kailash. Lamo gave him a long-sleeved sheepskin coat to keep him warmer. The narrator and Tibetan took a shortcut to get off the Chat. This route would take them southwest almost directly towards Mount Kailash. It involved crossing fairly high mountain passes. Tibetan said that there would be no issue if there was no snow. The alternate route took them crosswise over tremendous fields having parched fields. They saw few gazelles and a great herd of wild asses. They noticed clouds of dust rising in the sky. As the hills arrived again, they passed shepherds tending their flocks. These men or women were well wrapped. They would pause and look at the vehicle. Sometimes they would wave as the vehicle passed by them. When the cars was close to the sheep, the animals would try to avoid the speeding vehicle by dodging to one side track that the narrator and Tibetan passed the dark tents of the nomads in lonely places. A huge black dog, a Tibetan Mastiff, would stand to guard outside. These dogs raised their enormous heads erect and viewed the narrator's vehicle. As the vehicle came nearer, they would begin yapping and kept running towards their vehicle. The dogs were totally fearless of their vehicle. Tibetan had to apply the brake and turn aside. Gradually, they gained height and the valley sides closed in. They were climbing up the hill. The turns became sharper and the rides bumpier. Tibetan drove in third gear. The narrator felt the pressure building up in his ears. He held his nose, snorted, and cleaned them. They struggled round another tight bend. Tibetan stopped. He opened his door and jumped. Daniel, his friend, too, left the vehicle. There was snow on the track. It stretched for about 15 meters. Then it became smaller and the dirt trail reappeared. There was no way around the snow patch as there was no snow on either side. Moreover, the bank was too steep for the vehicle to scale. They were at 5,210 meters above sea level. Tibetan grabbed handfuls of dirt. He flung them across the icy top layer. The narrator and Daniel joined him and threw dirt. Then Tibetan drove the car slowly and carefully on the icy surface. Daniel and the narrator stayed out of the vehicle to lighten Tibetan's load. 10 minutes later, they stopped at another blockage. This time, Tibetan decided to try and drive around the snow. The slope was steep and full of big rocks. Somehow, Titan got past over the difficult route. Once he cut a very sharp bend. They continued to climb in the bright sunshine. They crept past 5,400 meters. The narrator's head began to beat horribly. He took gulps of water from a bottle. Finally, they reached the top of the pass at 5,515 meters. There was a large cane of rocks. It was decorated with white silk scarves and ragged prayer flags. They took a turn around the cane in a clockwise direction. The lower atmospheric pressure was allowing the fuel to expand. It could be dangerous, so Titan advised them not to smoke. As they moved down the other side of the pass, the narrator's headache soon cleared. It was 2 o'clock. They stopped for lunch. They ate hot noodles inside a long canvas tent. The plateau was pockmarked with salt flats and brackish lakes. By late afternoon, they had reached the small town of Hor. They were back on the main east-west highway. It followed the old trade route from Lhasa to Kashmir. Daniel found a ride in a truck to return to Lhasa. Titan got the punctured tires repaired. The narrator found Hor a grim, miserable place with no vegetation. They had tea in Hor's only cafe. They left Hor after half an hour. They drove past rocks and rubbish westwards towards Mount Kailash. Let's look at the questions and answers. Question number 1. The story has been titled Silk Road. Justify it. Answer. The Silk Road refers to a network of overland routes linking Europe with Asia. This has been a trade route followed by the Europeans since ancient times, who had a passion for silk, horses, and exotic flora and fauna of the East. Travelers along the route would buy and sell various items, including silk and spice from China. The author Nick Middleton, in his travelogue, follows the Silk Road to reach Mount Kailash to do the Kora. Question number 2. What do you know about the Tibetan Mastiffs? Answer. Tibetan Mastiffs, huge and ferocious dogs, were quite popular in China's imperial courts because they were good hunting dogs and also good guards. These Tibetan Mastiffs guarded the dark tents of the nomads, pitched in isolation. These huge black dogs would raise their heads when they became aware of people approaching and stared at them. As they drew closer, they would explode into action like bullets and rush towards them and chase them about for 100 meters. These hairy dogs usually wore bright red collars and barked angrily with enormous jaws. Question number 3. What was the purpose of the author's journey to Mount Kailash? Answer. The author went to a journey on Mount Kailash to do the Kora, as is the tradition. The Kora signifies a rite of circumambulating the holy mountain, that is, taking a full circle around it. For this, the author adopted the Silk Route to reach Mount Kailash and faced heavy odds to reach there. Question number 4. Comment on Titan's support to the author during the journey. Answer. Titan was a good and efficient driver. He drove the car very carefully. During the journey, he spoke to the author, giving information about the places they were visiting. He was caring. At Dachan, when he found that the author was not well, he took him to the medical college and got medicine for him. He was a good Buddhist. I hope you liked today's video. For more interesting videos, do subscribe to my CBSE English teacher, and don't forget to like, share and give your valuable comments below. Thank you for watching.